No, I don't want their sponsorship. I don't want them as a sponsor. That is a terrible product. It's a terrible product. I tried it for a month, and I got no results whatsoever. I got nowhere with their product. I thought I'd be able to fly over top of the house and fly over the town. I couldn't levitate 1 inch off the floor. I couldn't levitate. I couldn't rise up, float even a little bit after using it all that time. It's misleadingly labeled. It what? Oh, it's, you say it actually says anti-cavity toothpaste. Okay, in that case I may have misread the label. And oh, hello! Greetings, human friends and non-human friends, coming to you once again from the shadowy cobwebs of Horror Hotel. It's time for Creepy Cheapies with Dr. Heidi. I'm Nikita Khrushchev, of course. And today I'm going to violate one of my own loose rules here. I kind of, I try to keep the masks under $100 on Creepy Cheapies, because they're not really cheap if they're more than $100. But it's still possible to get a good deal, right? Suppose you got a $1,000 mask for $100. Well, then it would be cheap, wouldn't it? But today's mask sells for, pushing right up against that ceiling, $95 last time I saw it. Now you can, as of this video event here, as of right now, me saying this, you could get them for either $125 or $150 on Amazon or from some of the eBay dealers, or you could get them directly from the Zagoni website for $95. And well, let me back up a little. Oh wait, I can't. There's a window right there. Let me retrace the history just briefly for you, if it's not too late to debrief already. You know, some of you know I was seriously ill for quite a while there. I was very sick for a long time. I became very depressed and very hopeless, and I did not think I was going to get well, and I really just didn't care about anything. You get in a terrible frame of mind where you just become too depressed and isolated, and you just are done living, and you don't care about the things that you normally loved when you're healthy. You just lose your interest in things. And I was at that level of depression for literally months because I was very sick, and I'm okay now, thanks for asking, but I was very sick and I didn't care. I didn't buy any masks. There's just nothing left. I just couldn't think about anything but the pain and the sickness and so forth. And then one day, the first clue that I might eventually survive and get well, and I didn't even want to survive. I was so depressed. I was like, you know, other people are trying to recover, and I was kind of feeling like, Grim Reaper's late. He should have been here weeks ago. Where is he? You know. I was ready to check out and take the luggage, and then the first clue that I might actually recover, which I didn't realize until later it was the first clue, but one day I happened to look at some emails on an iPad, and there was one from Zagoni Studios, and it was the first time I had seen this message saying that they were reissuing some of their old masks as collector's editions. And this whole time I had been sick, I didn't care about masks. I didn't care about anything. You couldn't even talk to me. I was just like, rah, 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 you know. And when I saw that, I was kind of like, rah, 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 oh, you know. And it kind of sparked something. And I think from that day on, I think I began to mentally recover. And if that sounds stupid, that's about par for the course, I guess, around here. But it wasn't just the mask I'm about to show you. It was a bunch of them that I saw in this email, and they were all these old monsters. And I thought, oh, it's all these old monsters from the 1980s and 70s even. Wow, these old masks. And you know, it interested me in a way that nothing else had. Even though I'd seen tons of other masks while I was sick. Somehow seeing. Anyway, the mask I'm actually talking about, and it's not, like I said, it's not the main one that cheered me up on its own or anything. It was the whole project. But do you like this mask? I hope so. I do too. You get it? No, you don't get it. Why would you get it? That wasn't even a joke. No, it wasn't. See, thing is, I do too is the name of the mask, because this particular Zagoni creation is called I Do Too. Now, if you're going to look this up online, you want to see more pictures of it, you're going to go shopping for one, let me just tell you quickly, it's too late for that, let me just tell you prolongedly, there are a couple of different spellings. I is always spelled E-Y-E because, yeah, I wonder why. But the I do sometimes is spelled D-O, like the word do, like what you say when you're getting married. And what you say when getting married, by the way, is I do, for those who didn't know that, if you're taking notes. And the to on the end sometimes is T-O-O, as in also, and sometimes T-W-O, as in the number 2. So, could be spelled any one of those ways if you're looking for it. Why is it called that? Well, it's actually a sequel to an earlier mask. And this dates back to the days when Zagoni Studios was Be Something Studios, and the original Be Something mask was called Hanging I Do. Okay, and he had a hanging eyeball like this. He was kind of small. He was available from about 1976 through 79, 75 or 6, somewhere in there, and was very popular, was one of the first nasty, gory, ugly, bloody masks anybody had ever seen. So back in the day, it was really something quite shocking, you know? But it was sort of small and hard to wear for a lot of people, and in 1979, it was resculpted, and this particular version, this one was sculpted by the legendary Bill Eastrom, sculptor of many of Zagoni and Be Something's best masks. This Bill Eastrom version came out in 1980 and was called I Do Too. You see? Now, if you're wondering why it's $95 and why I think that's okay for a mask that's just, you know, you might be thinking, just another mask. It's actually handcrafted for you by one artist, which I think is more collectible and more desirable and makes it more valuable to the collector than something that came out of a, you know, production line, assembly line sort of situation. Anthony Zagoni actually finishes the mask for you by hand all himself. So he paints it and does the fur, the hair, and all that good stuff. And he's finishing it for you. And this particular one, which I'm now going to take off the not very expensive styrofoam head, this one, you'll never be able to see this. I don't know why I took it off there. Well, maybe. He actually autographs them on the inside. Or at least he did this one. I assume he does all of them. But can you see that? Let's see. Where is that? There it is. Oh boy. This is why the popular shows do rehearsals. All right. You see that? That's an autograph in there. It says Anthony Zagoni, because he actually makes the mask for you. And you know, you're getting a real work of mask art here. Now I will tell you that this guy, back in the 1980 edition, I wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't a big fan. I liked the original version, but I wasn't a big fan of this one because I thought it looked a little silly. It was kind of a white color, bluish white with white hair, and the goop coming out of him was yellow and red, and I guess that was supposed to be real, you know, woo, gross, creepy, like pus and blood, you know, but it kind of looked like ketchup and mustard on a hot dog to me, and I thought it was kind of silly. But the collector edition, which came out around 2017, is much more, or 2018, I guess, yeah, 18 this came out. It's much more subtle, and it has a realistic sort of a tan flesh tone. And I love this gray hair that's the silver kind of hair that kind of has the blended look to it. Now, just for comparison's sake, let's see the original sculpture. This is the one from the 70s, the Hanging I Do, okay, as opposed to his cousin, I Do Too. Now, Hanging I Do, as you can see, is a little more creepy, a little more disturbing, and a little more like a rotted corpse. And this one is a little bit more fun, a little bit more exaggerated. This one's a little more disturbing. But one thing that they have in common is that back in the day, both of them came with an eyeball, a little plastic eyeball popped into a sculpted socket for the little missing eye. And they were sculpted and molded with an empty eye socket, and then that little plastic eyeball would be popped into each copy of the mask, which had a really great look. And once again, for back then, was amazing looking. For back then was so real and shocking and spooky that everybody loved it on Halloween. But they don't make those kind of little plastic eyeballs anymore. What they were is little joke eyeballs that you could float in somebody's drink. They would call them eyeballs for highballs, and you put them in the drink, and they were weighted on the bottom, so like they would be looking up out of the drink. But they were kind of small, a little bit smaller than a real human natural eyeball, but they would pop those in there. They don't make them anymore, so now they have painted rubber eyeballs in there instead of eyeballs for highballs. You with me? Now, a lot of the hanging I do masks were finished with more of a gray, dead look to them, and the reason I'm showing you this particular one today is because it's got pretty much the identical finish to the I do too, so you can get a good idea of the comparison, the differences in the sculpture and the hairline and all that stuff. But goodness, badness gracious me, I think if you're into collectible type masks, if you just need something to pull on and go at the haunted house this Halloween, you could probably get away with something much cheaper. But for a neighborhood of $100, I'm gonna say I'm thrilled to have an I do too. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the original paint and color scheme, just shows you how much difference that kind of thing can make, because I love the way he looks with this particular color scheme. And by the way, where did I get this? I saw it online while I was still dying, and MaskFest 2017 was the one that I was too sick to go, and I missed it. But I did go to MaskFest in 2018, still in rough shape and kind of looking like a human skeleton floating around the place. Went to MaskFest 2018, which is where I bought this one from the Zagoni Studios table. So if you can get to MaskFest, if there's going to be one this year or next year, whenever there is, let's go ahead and say next year for sure. If you can get to MaskFest, check out the Zagoni Studios table, if they have one at the MaskFest that may or may not happen. And look for one of these, because do you like it? I do too. I do too. I do too. Do we have those end screens up? I hope we do. I do too. Yeah, you do too. You do.